Hello, I'm PDYX.
And I'm Ant Keeps Gaming, and welcome to Playing It Wrong, the show where we play random online Nintendo games and talk about them.
That's right, each episode we're going to take one random NES game and one random SNES game from the games available on the NSO service on the Nintendo Switch, and we're going to play them for at least 30 minutes each and talk about our opinions of those games.
Playing It Wrong, episode 19.
All right, episode 19, and we played some games, and we played some games.
We did.
We did. We played the Immortal for the NES, and I believe the Immortal is maybe a Western exclusive. I might be wrong about that, actually, now that I'm looking at it. No, I think it is. It was a Western exclusive, so maybe it was out in Europe. I don't know. Anyway, and then for the NES, we played the Immortal. And then for the SNES, we played Bombuzal. And how did you feel about this week?
Oh my god. Well, let me tell you something, Patrick. Let me tell you something. These are both horrible games, but one is more interesting than the other, but I'm not telling you which yet, so we'll do one game at a time. So
Yeah. I agree. I'd have to look back, and I am looking back presently.
Yeah.
But I think this might be one of the worst weeks. Maybe Scat and Super EDF, for me personally, because I hate bullet hell games, might count as worse. But gosh, golly, this is a tough week. Have
you noticed we haven't had two games that we enjoyed, like two really good games? We've only had literally an okay game with a bad game, or just a bad week.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Did we? Yeah, I mean, like Zelda 2 and Super Mario All-Stars, but I don't even really like Zelda 2. Anyway. Kirby's Adventure in Breath of Fire, maybe. The first episode of season 2. All right, I'm going to stop. But this week was tough. This was a weird week. Like you said, I think one game is more interesting than the other.
Let's see which one you think it is.
I think these games are really interesting, like to talk about next to each other for some reasons that maybe I'll save to the end, and maybe we should just start with the Immortal.
Yeah.
So the Immortal is I think it was published by EA, by Electronic Arts, but like when you play the game, it's credited to like one person. So did you notice that? If it's like Matt something or other.
I did not. That's nice to know. I did not know that.
Will Harvey. That's the name.
Okay.
Will Harvey presents the Immortal. So I'm guessing it was their,
yeah,
they were the main developer or whatever. This game came out in 1990 for the NES, but I believe it also came out on like the Genesis.
Did it? Oh, okay, interesting.
From reading about it, it's got pretty decent graphics, especially for the NES. We don't have to start with that. Maybe we'll get to that in a minute. The Immortal. How long did you hang around and play the Immortal?
Well, I'm looking at my video now, which is privated and won't be up until this episode's release, which it will be. I played it for 14 minutes and a 30 seconds, 27 seconds precisely.
That sounds about right. I think I managed somewhere between 10 and 15 as well.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Not very long.
This game is hard.
Very. It's got I don't know if you want me to go into it, but like a dodging system, random battles, traps, and God knows what else.
So I think this game is the more interesting of the two.
Oh, okay.
You think it's the other way around?
I think it's the other way around, yes.
Okay. So I think this game is really interesting because it's really hard, but it looks fantastic for an NES game, I think.
Yes, I agree 100%.
And the sound is really good. Like the music and it's got sound effects for lots of different things that compared to any other NES game blows them out of the water. And it's got a ton of unique death animations. So there are a lot of ways to die, right?
Yes.
And you play this wizard who wanders into this labyrinth or horrible chamber, right? Dungeon, if you will. And like, it's interesting because like there's some other wizard that you're trying to save and some third wizard that was sent to save them, but they're dead. So you're just kind of like nobody. You're just like a random wizard that wandered in here. You're not involved in this story, but like, man, you can get shot by arrows. You can get shot by fire bombs. You can get eaten by sandworms. You can die in these fights, and everyone has a unique death animation. Like a typical NES game would just have that wah, 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 you know, kind of like Mario, like the same thing. But they went above and beyond. They knew you were going to die a lot.
Yeah, also just like random pitfalls as well, which annoyed me a lot. But you'll get
they're not so random though. You have to be super careful in this game.
I thought it was random because no matter where I went on one bit, I just kept falling into a pit.
Was it a dark room?
Yeah.
If you light the torches, you can see a little thing chasing after you that then swallows you up.
Well, I knew there was something following me, but I just thought I just had a dodge. I did not know that was part of that. Okay, that's nice to know. No,
so like I went because just like we said, I could only last for about 10 or 15 minutes, but I was intrigued by this game. And I went and found somebody on YouTube that has like a playthrough of the whole thing.
What?
And it's only about 45 minutes.
Oh wow.
So in theory you can beat the game in about 45 minutes, but in practice they make a joke there and say it's like this game is like Dark Souls but hard. Because you know the only way it's kind of trial and error, you know. And the only way you can kind of figure out stuff is to like die a bunch, and it's
this is where the rewind feature and the save states come in handy with this sort of game, especially. I found out I use it a lot on this game in particular. So
anytime you enter a new room, anytime you like anything happens where you progress a slight bit, you got to save it because you never know what's going to hit you next. And the game, to its credit, gives you some continues, but it's only like 3 or something.
I know. Like I don't think I've used any continues. I think I just always rewound and save.
That's the way to go.
Yep. That's how you enjoy these games, guys.
Yeah, I skipped around watching just like some of this, like, you know, person's playthrough. And man, it gets intense. I mean, not that it's not intense right out of the gate, but God. Like so many like other ways that you can die. And like, I think it's just fascinating game. Like you said, like you kind of, when you fight an enemy, it's not like an action game. Kind of is, I guess. Like there's a goblin, right? And you walk up to the goblin and then it cuts to like this sort of like punch out type mode.
Like
it's just like punch out
based. Yeah, punch or knife out because he's got a dagger.
yeah. Basically you can like swipe your knife or like dodge, right? And you kind of have to like, you can, if you swipe your knife too much, just like punch out, you get tired and you can't do anything.
Yeah. Oh my God. I found that so weird because it was like, I thought I was doing something. I was pressing a button. It was doing something. I think, okay, I'm going to kill him, but he killed me first. And I'm thinking, I'm doing something wrong here. So then I pressed some other buttons and the control stick one way, and I found that you can do like a swiping sort of attack, and that actually did something.
Yeah, that swiping attack is pretty much all you want to do, at least for the early enemies, it felt like. Really weird mechanic. And for this, it's like this adventure sort of room-based game with lots of text, you know, and the text is written in this very old style fantasy, kind of hard to read.
Yeah, kind of hard to read, very, very slow as well. Like a robot. And you do this and you take the key to the chest.
And kind of like how you were describing with the fights where you have to hold the direction stick to like to make the swiping attack when you push the button. A lot of that with the menus too, like you have to hold the stick over to yes or no, or pick up the item or drop it or whatever. I just felt like I was impressed by this game for the time and what they were managed to do on the Nintendo, even though it's like maybe one of the hardest games on NSO. Like,
Dark Souls,
do you think this is harder than like Ghosts and Goblins? It's got to be. It felt close to me.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think it is, but it's very close. I reckon.
I did not progress very far in either.
I didn't progress further in either. Well, I think I got further than you in Ghosts and Goblins, but
You
not
did, yeah.
not this. I don't know how, but there we go.
Well,
I don't believe in my skills very much. So.
It's a tough game, and also like I kind of got to a point where I felt like I didn't know what to do next. Like, and I was like, I'm not gonna backtrack.
Yeah, definitely. I think I used more save states on the place I was stuck, because I got to this like canyon bit and I was stuck on like right on the edge, and then literally there was nowhere to go, so I didn't know what to do, and I kept backtracking everywhere I went. I just died because there's like fire traps and arrows.
Same here, and it was just like too hard.
Yeah, I'm stopping now. And just looking at it now, because I'm looking, replayed my gameplay on it, it just looks at like a very old PC game too. When you get the people wandering about, you click here and you go there and click on something else.
Yeah,
well,
I mean, like 90, towards the end of the NES, but like, I think it looks pretty good for an NES game, and I think it's like, like I said, it has cool like sound effects and stuff for an NES game, and death animations and stuff like that, and just interesting, but suffers from the way too hard.
Yeah.
like super tough as nails, brutal, makes it not fun. So with all that in mind, like, this is not something I recommend you play through unless, like you played it a lot as a kid and remember all this stuff. Cause man, or you want to like just play through it and watch a guide or something maybe.
Yeah. Or watch my videos and watch how terrible I do with it.
But I think it is worth like opening once just because it's interesting for what they pulled off on the NES and in that respect, but that's about it. Anything else on The Immortal that we forgot to mention, or?
Not really. I think you went over. There was something I was going to say, but I can't actually remember what it was. I think it was just hard and just traps, and you get hit by anything, easy to die.
It took me so long to get past that first, maybe the third room, like where there's arrows.
Oh yeah.
There's just like arrows coming from every direction, and one arrow kills you.
Anybody thinks that, this room's trying to kill me.
Every room is like really challenging.
Yeah.
Anyway, the other game we played was Bombuzal.
Interesting name. Interesting art style.
Bombuzal is, I believe, and I'm going to double check this right now, a European exclusive. Was back in the day. I guess it did release. No, I take this back. Apparently I'm wrong. I think I'm thinking of a different game that released around the same time. So let me cut that out. So Bombuzal is a 19. Well, it came out on the SNES or whatever, in 1990 in Japan and 92 in America. But I guess that was previously like a PC game, kind of like I imagine the other one was too. So originally came out in 88. But anyway, the point is, came out around the same time as The Immortal. And I think that's interesting to talk about because that's like, I think The Immortal looks great for that era. I think Bombuzal looks pretty shitty.
Yeah,
I don't know if you agree.
I mean, it's just more colourful. Just looking at it now, it's just
it's definitely more colorful. And so maybe, but it's like I just like the bombs or like it just seems like they just kind of rushed some of the graphics and like the opening title screen kind of looks like somebody that did it in MS Paint. I mean, I mean, whatever. I don't want to insult anybody. I just found it to be kind of rough around the edges after seeing something that felt like it was like done well. See,
now this is where I feel this game's more interesting, even though it, as you said, it looks a bit more shitty than the Immortal. I do feel it's more interesting, but still hard as hell.
Man, like I just found it not very fun. So like I guess we should explain it. It's a puzzle game where you progress through different just like levels, grid-based levels where you have to detonate all the bombs. and you have to be able to detonate a bomb. You have to like move away from it so it doesn't hurt you. And you know, one bomb can set off a string of other bombs. It kind of like, I'm trying to think of what you like. I looked up a video of this as well to see somebody playing farther levels out, and they called it like the thinking man's Bomberman, which I don't know if that's fair or not, but
I don't think that's fair.
It's really weird. Like, it's got this sort of, you know, 3/4 like isometric perspective.
Yeah,
which doesn't feel appropriate.
No, and this is why I said it's not fair. Like you said, Thinking Man's Bomberman. No, this is not. I feel like they wouldn't have designed the controls like what they did, because as you said, it's like the camera's a certain way. It's like top down. I don't know how to explain it. Like, you know,
it's not top down.
It's not.
It's top down would be nice.
Yeah, it would be. That's what I'm saying. It's not top down, but it's like. Yeah, a side view.
Yeah. Well, apparently, which I did not realize playing it, but I think there might be a button you can push to switch to just like not to while you're moving, but to like looking at it. You can switch to see the top down.
Yeah, you can have top down to look at the map, but you can't move.
It just should be like top down the whole time, because it's this grid based thing where it really doesn't. It just would be so much easier to navigate from that.
Yeah.
Perspective, and to have a better sense of where to go and what to do. And
because the way the camera angle is, the controls are so weird. And looking at the footage I've done, I just keep falling off the map constantly, like literally constantly. Because down is not down; it's like left or right or something. It's not exactly the same.
Yeah, because it's of the weird isometric.
Yes.
Like, so you play this blue blob character who's wandering around detonating these alleged bombs that just look like, I don't even know, like red fruit, right? Like on these green squares.
Yeah, you look kind of like a rip-off version of one of the McDonald's characters, pretty much.
Yeah, Grimace.
Grimace, that's I couldn't think of his name. And you got these, they look like oranges, but I guess they're bombs.
They're oranges, but they're called bombs. They're called bombs. That's where I'm like, the artists like fell down on their job / they rushed this game. Like they slapped some art on here.
Yeah. But not only that, you've got a timer as well. Or it doesn't say time, it just says bonus.
Yeah, but it adds to the stress.
Yeah, it adds to the stress, but if it goes down to 0, you've lost anyway. You've got to try and make sure you stay on the platforms. You've got to destroy all the bombs, as you said, Patrick. But also you've got some platforms that are ice, so you slip onto another, it spins you off, it can spin you off. You've got cracked ones, you can only go in there once and you can't go back. I just feel myself like, I used the save states and rewind feature, but it was more for me keep falling off the platform constantly. I was actually getting hit less by the bombs. It was just more of the weird angle in the controls. Even if when I respawned, I still was falling off exactly the same place. So,
well, how far did you manage to make it? How many levels?
Well, I played it for 27 minutes, which is shocking.
Oh, yeah, that is shocking, actually.
Yeah. And I got to level 7.
Nice.
So I must have enjoyed it. I think it was just the whole, even though it was horrible, I don't know if I must have got some sort of enjoyment out of it, because I wouldn't have played it for that long.
I gave up sooner than you. I think I played it for about the same amount of time, if not less, than the Immortal. And I got to level 5 and was like, I get what this game is. This is not fun. I didn't feel a sense of accomplishment after. I kind of did. It's like, you know what? I'm going to push through and get through a few of these levels. I kind of started to feel a sense of accomplishment, but then you get to a point where they start getting more complex, and it's kind of like you have to spend a lot of time thinking through it, walking around, looking at it, and I was like, nah, this isn't that much fun. It's not.
Pretty much exactly like you. I thought I could, power through. I got some sort of a sense of achievement. When I saw it was coming up to 27 minutes, I was like, oh, okay, this game is horrible, but I must have enjoyed it to play it for 27 minutes, near enough the minimal, but just under the minimal time we try and play these games for.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, this is why I found it was more interesting, but annoying and hard. But yeah,
yeah, totally. I don't know. It adds more and more mechanics as you go, and I guess that's fine. But I've also found you had to experiment with them. There wasn't very clear always, you know?
Yeah.
And like, so I failed sometimes when there was a new mechanic before I realized how you were supposed to deal with it. And that was frustrating. And so I don't know. I just didn't like it. It looks like there's a lot of levels in it. I found some stream of somebody playing it where they only played for like 2 hours and something, and they got through like 30 something levels. And I don't know how many more there are beyond that. I could probably find it, but it's actually got 130. I just found it.
What?
So it's got a lot of levels in it. So it's definitely not a short game. But I don't know if I personally can't really recommend it unless you just love puzzle games and need one more or something. You know, like.
See, if I would have got past for the Immortal, if I got past that bit, I might have played it longer. But because I didn't know where to go and how to get past that bit, I would have played it longer. But obviously, Bombuzal, when you got a feel for it and you knew what to do, you kind of started playing it well, but still was a bit hard. It's just the thing that got me with this game in particular is just I kept falling off the platform. The controls with it was just so weird. So because it's at a slight angle, the camera, isometrical, as you said. Yeah,
it should just be a top down.
Yeah,
it really should.
So
it would make it easier to see the whole map. It would make it easier, which it is when you switch to it, but you can't like move around like that. I don't know why they didn't do that. I guess they thought that like the art was so crummy that they needed to make it look a little bit better by having that angle or something.
That's too much like Bomberman. We have to change the camera angle.
Well, like honestly, that's it for me. I don't have a lot to say about either of these games. This is probably for me the shortest amount of time I've spent playing the games, like combined. I've had some games where I haven't played all 30 minutes, but usually most weeks at least one game I spend about that long on. But this time I spent about 10 to 15 on each and was like, that's enough.
No more.
No more. And I don't really strongly recommend either of these games. I think they're both worth skipping unless, you know, with usual caveats, unless you really just want to experience them or you have some memories of them, or like the genre is really your thing or something. Hard to suggest actually playing either of these.
Yeah, we play these games so you don't have to. I think I must have said that before.
Well, anything else about either one of these or anything yet?
I just think this has just been a bad week. You know, we get bad weeks here and there. This is definitely a bad week, and I can't wait for a good week. Hopefully it will change because we have the Sega Genesis and Nintendo 64 ones. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Yeah,
that's right. So we're going to pick our new games, but you know, being as this is the season finale of second season, we're going to have a guest come and join us for episode 20. And we thought to mix it up, now that there are N64 games and Genesis games available on NSO, we would do this final week of season 2, episode 20, where we play a N64 game and a Genesis game. So these are smaller pools of games.
I did suggest to Patrick, can we just do like Sega by itself? But it's fine. I don't mind doing that. I was trying to convince him, like, come on, let's do it separately. But no, it's all right. We'll chuck it in. It's NSO anyway, so it's all the same.
So why don't you give us our countdown? We're going to do our first ever N64 and Genesis game for Nintendo Switch Online.
Okay, here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's play it wrong.
All right. We got Sin and Punishment.
Okay.
For the N64. I don't know.
Never played that.
And then we got Dynamite Heady.
Never played that.
Dynamite Heady for the Genesis.
Just to let you guys know, yes, I had a Sega Genesis, but it doesn't mean I played all the games. and I started my Nintendo journey in Nintendo 64, but it doesn't mean I played all the games either. So just letting you know. Because I've been saying this, all these episodes, oh yeah, I played this and this, but I haven't played these games.
I've never played either of these games either. I was like I've played a lot of the N64 ones on here, but not Sin and Punishment. I don't even know much about it, and definitely not Dynamite Heady. Don't know much about that either. So, well, I think that does it for this one. And yeah, that's it. We'll come back next week with our special guest, and we'll talk about our first ever N64 game, Sin and Punishment, and Genesis game, Dynamite Heady.
Bye, guys.
Thanks for listening to Playing It Wrong. This podcast is a collaboration between Super Switchheads and Ant Keeps Gaming. Check out the weekly Super Switchheads podcast, and also check out Ant Keeps Gaming on YouTube. Our music is provided by Bent Neatly. Thanks again. Bye.